back, viewers at home. I am joined by an incredible guest this evening who brings unique blend of knowledge, passion, and ingenuity to the table. He is Ismail Jappie, an avid beekeeper and self-made entrepreneur in the world of honey and bee-related products. Joining us tonight to find out more on his journey and all things bee product. Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah so much for joining us.
Walaikum salam, Sister Yamun. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, shukran.
Alhamdulillah. Now, from humble beginnings in 2015 to now founding of this thriving business at current, what motivated you to turn this passion into a business?
Look, I started out not knowing anything about the bees. I started in 2015, as you know, with the bees. I was on holiday in Mozambique, and a friend of mine gifted me one of the hives. And from there, I had to research. You know, you do the YouTube, you do the internet searching, and you see all these wrong videos that they do online. And then eventually I found a group that actually does beekeeping, and I did a course. And then since I've managed to find a club, and we were actually one of the biggest clubs in the south. I belong to Southern's Beekeeping Association.
Wow. This is quite interesting. And, you know, as I was saying earlier on to say, when we hear the buzzing of the bee, we run. Or you try and, like, you know,
Yes.
try and whack it. But for someone to now find the courage of, you know, really interacting with the bees and now having the different products from what bee produces, it's quite intriguing. But
Yes.
seeing your long and rich history of, you know, the journey you intaked or partaked in to get to where you are right now, can you walk us through the process of beekeeping and honey production and some of the challenges that it comes with,
Okay, so
besides the being stung by the bee?
so in South Africa we follow the Langstroth methodology of beekeeping,
Okay.
which is they basically provide you the dimensions to make your bee boxes and stuff. So depending on your end goal, so there's different reasons you could be doing the beekeeping.
Okay.
So you have like you see the products that you have there. You do, if you want to do honey production, there's a certain way of doing it, and if you want to do wax production, there's a certain way of doing it. But there's a third branch of beekeeping which I'm actually quite interested in at the moment, which is where you use the beekeeping apitherapy, which is you actually use the bee stings with medicinal uses. So you like use bee stings for arthritis, and you'll use the wax as a cream. You use the honey as a wound dressing. So there's shifa in different products of the bees. So I'm actually quite interested in that at the moment.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's also like bee inhalation therapy, bee venom therapy. There's other therapies that's regarding the bees or the apitherapy. Yeah. So depending on your end goal,
Yeah.
your process of doing the beekeeping will be different.
Now I'm now interested in the bees stinging because we only know the pain, but we don't know somehow what lies beyond, you know, what
Yeah.
we're not aware of because of lack of knowledge in that sense. But can you share with us the process of now creating? I believe you have honey, and I'm seeing there's a tub there. It also has something. Can you just take us through some of your
Okay.
products
So
and the process?
the products that I brought here, I brought you 3 different types of honey.
Okay.
So as the season progressed, you can actually see the honeys changed in different colors.
Yeah, yeah.
So depending on the nectar source, you'd get a different fragrance, different color, different texture, different rate of crystallization. Honey must crystallize, and it becomes solid. So if you're looking at honey and it's always a honey, they've sold us a product in the markets or wherever you buy your honey.
Yeah.
They've sold us an adulterated product most of the time. And here you can just look at these honeys, for instance. There's 3 different colors.
Yeah.
They're all hard. So the honey does crystallize. These are all raw honeys, and it's honeys that I've personally taken off.
Yeah, this is quite interesting. Now, my co-host Aisha Mako was saying that different honey for different use. How does that work? Because there's honey for tea, honey for cooking. There's
Different honey, honey is it's sweet, but I've tasted honey that tastes like onions. So
Wow.
it just depends on the nectar source. So you can imagine something like a lavender honey, for instance. It would be very calming, because
okay.
lavender in its property would be very very calming.
Oh,
You
okay.
understand? So depending on the nectar source, some people might be allergic to say lavender, because I've used the lavender as an
Yeah.
example. Someone could be allergic to lavender, and then when they eat that honey, they'd be allergic, but they wouldn't be allergic to another type of honey. Because I have an aunt that's actually allergic to honey. She says she's allergic, but then she's eaten of some of the other honeys and she hasn't reacted.
This is quite interesting. And in the other packaging, I'm seeing there's a bottle there and there's also a tub. What's in those
So,
containers?
so in the tub we have a balm that I make.
Okay.
So that's basically like your beeswax coupled with other oils to make a nice balm. It's medicinal in a way. Like you can use it's antifungal, antiviral, and antibacterial. So the properties of the wax it seals as well. Yeah, and then
Wow.
the propolis itself, which is the other bottle on the left, that is made from propolis, and propolis in itself has the qualities of antiviral, antifungal, and antibacterial. Yeah. I brought the raw product. You can actually smell it and see it and interact with it. You'll notice that it's quite medicinal.
Wow, I cannot wait to actually take like a sniff at it. But while we're at it, I want to understand because as you walked in, you were like, I have different products and I have my tools. And I'm like, oh, okay. The last time I saw tools involving, honeys, not even honeys, bees and beekeeping was something I saw in the movies. Can you take us through in terms of the current tools that you have with us and what purpose do they serve in the process of maybe making honey or gathering the wax or whatever it may be.
Okay, so when we work with the bees, we want to work with them in a calm state.
Okay.
So the first tool that I'll show you is the smoker.
Okay.
So when we introduce smoke into the hive, what that does, it's in nature, the fire will come and the bees are expecting an eventuality of fire coming into the hive. So the bees will engorge themselves on honey, and the bee that has engorged itself on honey, it becomes calm because it knows it has a valuable resource and it won't compromise this resource. So it won't sting you. So by giving them the puff of smoke, you're actually calming the bees down.
Wow.
So they are preparing for eventuality of fire, where they will flight and then recreate the hive on another venue. So they will take enough resources with them to create a new hive.
Wow. And then.
Then I have, okay, this is now just like pull up your frames as you're working.
Okay. Okay.
And then we have the brush, because when you're working, there's like thousands of bees on the frames, so you'll just gently brush them off without harming them. And then we have our tools, which is like the hive tool. This is just like you use to pry. So it's like a crowbar to pull the bees actually with the propolis I showed you earlier.
Yeah, yeah.
They actually glue the frames down, and if you lift up just the frame without breaking the propolis, it will remove the whole hive. You'll just pull up the hive.
Yeah.
So you have to actually crack the frame away from the body to remove it. So that's the basic tool that we use.
Now, this is quite an interesting thing that you shared tonight in terms of how bees react to smoke. And I think for some of us who burn, oud in our homes, and you see a bee, I think it's best to just burn the oud and just keep blowing the smoke and hoping the bee will become and eventually leave.
Look, generally, when you find a bee that's not in the hive or close to the hive, that is a forager bee. It's a bee that's looking for food. Then the intention is not to sting. They do sting if you tramp them.
Yeah.
But the bees that's out, they are forager bees. They are bees that are looking for honey. They're looking for a source of nectar.
Oh, okay. That is quite interesting. Now, this conversation is quite amazing and so, interesting. But moving along with our discussion and in closing, would you mind sharing with our viewers where they can purchase your delicious honeys and other bee-related products, as well as how much they might expect to pay for some of these items?
I am online. My website is beebrowsapiaries.com.
Okay.
And you can see all my products on there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And the prices as well.
The prices should be on there as well, yes.
Amazing, amazing. Jazakallah so much, for joining us and truly sharing in a journey that was, truly inspired from, watching videos and an experience of traveling, and now it became something that is, plugging us with good honey and, good products from bees, and something that we will continue learning from the amazing creatures like that of bees. But Jazakallah so much for joining us tonight.
Shukran for having me.
Viewers at home, now if you want to order the next honey to make your tea or to, whatever, however way you use your honey, make sure you do check them out on their website. And do not forget to, make an order and buy the proper honey. Don't be buying these finicky honeys. All I'm saying, don't buy finicky honeys.